What if the other side of violence was love? Gender-based violence isn't just an act. It's an operating system. It's a fundamental principle that underlies the systems of control and domination that permeate pretty much everything that we have created as humans in this world. A cycle of harm that spirals and repeats, where trauma echoes through families, through communities, through countries. Genocide, slavery, war abound. Carnage carves its scars into the earth, species extinction. A malignancy that infects every corner of the world. It was a world that defined me, my life, my work. It began when I was a child, navigating the pain and trauma of abuse within the home I grew up in. It became a part of my political activism. From services and advocacy for women who were hurt, to demanding the recognition of women's rights as human rights in global public policy. Exploring how to change culture, shift narratives through entertainment and multimedia, to partnering with state-level educational systems to shift how boys and girls understood themselves and one another. In the fight and struggle for accountability for justice, I saw the widespread nature of this global pandemic, of the harm, the violation, the terror that is used as the operating principle of keeping all of these intersecting systems in place through force, through the threats of violence, and of the massive hurt that this operating system is causing us all. As I reckon with the ways in which violence has lived in my being, in my body, my very DNA, and I see the ways in which I harmed myself and others, the paradox, the contradictions, othering and belonging, repeat, cycle, repeat. I collapsed, I burnt out, I disassociated, separated, cut myself off from life. Until I was on my knees and I asked myself, what if the other side of violence was love? And now we see the systems crumbling around us. The very earth telling us, enough. And I ask myself, how do we become present? We fight, we struggle, we seek accountability and justice. And too often, we find ourselves lost in the struggle, chasing shadows without addressing the root, the fundamental operating system that centers fear. Punishment is not the end. It can be a beginning of more wounds. We find ourselves in an endless loop of damage within and without. What if instead we grounded ourselves in love? The life force, heartbeat, earth, divine kind of love. What if we used the rotting, the collapse, the pain, not as an obstacle, but as a catalyst for change, for interconnectedness? What if we mulched the harm, transformed it into fertile soil where new growth can flourish, where healing begins, where we use the very dis-ease, the very rotting structure to bring its own downfall, where we claim the universality of the harm as the shared foundation for a powerful love. Love not as a destination, but the very nature and fabric of how we walk together. What if we wove that into self, into community, into systems, into our relationship with the earth? Let us name the hurt, the harm in all its forms and shapes. Let us not shy away from the grief. Let the tears fall. Let the pain be seen. Let the collective sorrow be witnessed, felt, for in those tears and that grief, perhaps we can find the seeds of our redemption. Imagine a world where harm becomes its own creation story, where the very pain we experience transforms into a narrative of well-being, of love, of compassion, of unity. What if instead we grounded ourselves in love? In the collapse, we find opportunity. In the rot, we can find a chance to rebuild, not with anger or vengeance, but with understanding, where compassion becomes our guide, and love our blueprint for change. Let's harvest the lessons of the collapse to nurture a new foundation from the old, where every scar becomes a story of strength and every tear a testament to our shared humanity. Let's stand together in this transformation, turning harm into healing and violence into a new beginning, where every act of compassion becomes a step towards a world where love truly prevails. From my heart to yours, what if the other side of violence is love?